Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and my guest tonight is Sabine Wieger. Yay, I did
Difficult
it. Okay.
name.
Not really. It's just once you put it in your head, it's like I'll never get it right. Sabine Wieger. And I am thrilled to say this is not the first time she's been on my television show, and I'm so glad I caught her just before she's going to Austria. So let me tell you just a touch about the Coaching Game. Coaching Game is based on the fantastic points of view, which was developed in Israel by Efrat Shani and Yaron Golan, and the purpose of the Coaching Game is to broaden perspectives, and they do that by bringing right brain and left brain thinking together. So what I usually do with my guest is ask them to pick one card. Now Sabine chose 4 cards. So the cards that she chose, one is, and we're going to ask her why and how it all goes together. One is calling, and one is excuses, and one is alignment, and one is success. Not my favorite picture, but certainly one of my favorite words. So, okay, we're gonna first of all, I think what we need you to do, Sabine, is tell us. You're definitely a coach, so tell us, what kind of coaching do you specialize in?
I am a career development and business development coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with creative people, just because I'm working all my life with creative people. I'm in the photography industry since more than 20 years and in sales. And it was just natural that people are approaching me with questions around how to get into a creative career, or get into an environment that is creative, or get actually out of the creative career, or making a business out of their creative passion.
Well, first of all, how are you defining creative?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Creative is anyone who has a special skill that could be a photographer, a graphic designer, fashion designers, producers, anyone in the marketing, creative field, advertising field, production field, media field, but also salespeople who are in that industry, who just want to learn how to sell themselves better, or create their own business.
I'm always thinking that marketing people have to be so creative all the time. Also, even though when you say creative, I start to think of painters and photographers and sculptors, and which I'm sure you deal with also.
Writers, so anyone who feels like I'm a creative, I'm producing something, what can I do now with my passion?
That is so, I can't imagine that this is a standard field where people just say, oh, I'm going to make a business and I'm going to make money off my painting. I mean, I know so many people want to be writers, but they know they're not going to make any money by doing it, or they don't, and, they know they have to have another job on the side. So when people come to you, are they already in a business that's not working, or are they, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a boring left brain business and I want to get out and do something with my pet? Who comes to you? It's
actually all of the above. So there are people who know they're very talented as photographers, but they're really creative, they're really great photographers, but the business sense is missing. But I have also coaching several people who are very creative, fashion designers or designers, graphic designers. They actually want to do more than they're doing right now. So that means either they just the environment is not the right one. They don't feel like they're valued there, they're appreciated there, or they just want to advance, want to create their own business, or they actually want to get out of that business. It's their values have changed, so they want to get into completely different career. So it's all of them about as anything.
Wow,
yeah.
That's good. I like to say that I do career transition and reinvention, and I hear a little bit of that in what you're saying. It's like, okay, I want to. So many of us, and that's why we're coaches, climbed the career ladder and got to the top and went, oh, really? It's got to be something else. I'm not happy. So I'm thinking maybe some of your people are those people also.
Transition, and also I think one of the big things is also I want to be successful, and I want to make actually a living from it. So some people are just being creative, a photographer on the side, really want to do it as a full-time job, but just really don't know how to transition there. Yeah, exactly.
What is one of the biggest challenges because we all know that creative people, don't have that right brain stuff don't have that left brain things where, they can logically, well, maybe they do. That's an assumption I make. But what is one of the biggest challenges?
It brings me to the excuses card.
Oh no, let's go to calling first. Let's go to calling, because calling is a very pretty card.
Yeah, I know, that's very pretty.
I love calling with a yellow flower. What made you choose calling?
I choose calling, first of all, yes, it's a very pretty photo, and I just like the colors. And the
has
words.
No meaning at all, yes.
Well, I feel like everyone is so unique and has such unique skills and strengths, but sometimes they just don't know, they don't hear the messages, hey, this is what I should do. It's just they would like to do it, but they don't know how. And get their transition there or change how they're doing things right now. So this is why I choose calling. It's like, so everybody has these uniqueness about themselves, these very special things from the past, from experiences, from how they grew up, and sometimes they just don't allow it to themselves to be exactly in that calling career. So that's why I choose calling, because when I think about myself, the calling of becoming a coach just came some few years ago. But all my life I was asked for advice on how to help people, and but I never saw that calling. And now it's like suddenly it came. So
that's interesting, because I always say that I think coaching calls the coach. I think coaching calls who it wants. So that is a calling, and I never really considered it part of this card. But so when do people know they're calling when they come to you, or are they trying to figure it out, or do you do both again?
It's very interesting. First, when I started realizing that a lot of people approaching me regarding their passion, they knew already. But some people now, they really say, I am not happy in what I'm doing. I don't know what's missing. Can we find out what it is? I just don't know. And then we find out what is the calling.
What is the calling? Okay. So I think I understand why you did calling. So once they find, is it pragmatic that no matter that when people are called, should they answer the call? I mean, or is there a time when do you plan for it, or do you just go, yes, I want to be a whatever?
Well, I think it comes to that point that our inner critical voice is always like giving us this message: you can't do this. This will fail. You are not set up for this. You don't know how to do it. Stay where you are in your comfort zone. So this is really where the calling is like, okay, yeah, I hear it, I feel it. It would be great, but then on the other side, it's like, I don't know how to do it. I'd rather stay in my comfort zone.
I think you brought us to excuses. Which is also a great card, and it has a bird. I don't know what kind of bird, but it has a bird with its head in a very tiny hole.
I really like that photo.
I don't even want to know how he's going to get out of there. Maybe he won't. But so now that we're at excuses, when people, how do you determine between an excuse and a legitimate reason for not doing it, or postponing it, or ignoring it?
Well, what I do, I feel there's always a combination of both. So it's always like the inner critical voice, that is the one that is like the roadblocks, the belief system that we learn in the past. We had an experience in the past. It will not work. This is one thing.
I failed at one thing, so I'm going to fail at
exactly.
everything.
So
yes.
And it's tried it once, my friend tried it, it didn't work, it will not work for me. This is the inner belief system. That is one part of the excuses. The other part is like really not knowing how to do it. It's like, okay, if a calling is I should be independent, I want to have my own business, but I just don't know how to do it, or I just have no clue how to build a website. I don't know what should be on a website. I don't know what clients I should work with. That is the other part of like not knowing and finding an excuse. It will not work because I just don't know how to work. How this would work.
Yeah, I just don't know, and that's interesting because I don't know, and I think you're right. I think it's an internal an internal feeling that you try to answer, and then sometimes it gets overwhelming because change is scary.
Exactly.
And that's why coaches are so useful, because they can take you through all the steps of change. But I remember once when that's what we were told: climb the career ladder, go as high as you can, make as much money, and I had decided, well, I'm quitting. I'm not having fun. This isn't what I wanted to do. I don't think I'm doing anything useful. And someone said to me, well, you never quit when you're successful. And I went, well, why would you quit when you're no, I said, if you're successful, I think that you have to take that success another step. And if you're at the top, or if you're at somewhere where you can't go any further, then I think it's almost an obligation to move out and do something else. But so what are some of the excuses that you hear from people that they just, and how do you deal with them? You said, like, oh, I've never done it before, I failed, or I'm afraid I'll fail.
It's as you say, it's a lot of fear, fear of the unknown, fear of not succeeding, or being successful, fear of not knowing what's coming. The uncertainty it's a big, that's one of the biggest excuses, is I don't know, and I need stability, I need security. It's so many different excuses that I'm sometimes surprised. I'm like, hey, you're standing in your own way.
That's very creative, yes. That was a very creative excuse, yes.
Or, maybe that's not trendy. I don't think I can succeed. Maybe nobody wants what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that are coming up.
Well, do you? And I don't want to suggest that you should, but do you do a needs assessment with the people? It's like, well, what do you really need versus what do you want, or what are your values? It's like, how do you? Well, I guess. I see why she chose 4 cards. I really do. It's like we're just kind of moving
There's
into
so many. Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah,
so that brings me to the alignment.
Alignment, yes. And alignment.
Nice
Alignment is a black and white card, which is fine, and it's a ruler. It's two different kinds of rulers, but they're basically the same height. So alignment. I guess what I was trying to ask, and I didn't realize, was it's like, how do you align values and needs and wants? I guess those are 3 things that need alignment.
The first thing I always do is I really create first, what do they really want? I think the most important is having a vision and knowing exactly what it is they want, with no buts. So what is a crystal clear vision? What would you do if there were no roadblocks, if you could do anything in a career or in a business?
The hardest question.
So that is
what do you want?
But that's the most important, and that's usually the most important. This is really the most important session, because when you know exactly what you want, and that's aligned with your values, and that brings then all the action steps into process, right? So I align. The most important for me is really to work with my clients on finding out, what do you really want? What is your vision? What is very clearly, where do you see yourself in 6 months, in a year? And then do a value assessment. Find out what is important for you right now in that stage of life. And I realized that a lot of people have different values. They tell me that they were surprised about the results, because in the years of experiencing the job they are, they realize the values have changed. So the older we get, apparently, other things get more important.
That's so interesting, because I think you're absolutely right. I think it would not hurt to do a values assessment every now and then, because you're right. Certainly when you started your career at 20, whatever. And now
10 years later, you're like
20 years
not
later,
so important anymore.
I would hope that your values had changed, or your needs had changed, and you had, done a little experimenting. Oh, I hate this, and even like when coaches choose niches, and I know the coaching schools are like, oh my God, you got to choose a niche and you got to market to it. And what I tell people now, because I do mentor coaching, I tell them, it's like, you know what, pick something. it's not written in stone, it's not written in blood, and your niche is going to call you also.
Exactly.
It's like you're going to be coaching somebody and go, oh my gosh, I love what I just did. And this has nothing to do with health
true.
and wellness. I'm in a career now, but I really like that. So yeah.
I agree. That really comes to you. And that also is with my clients. Suddenly they're seeing it a lot. Just working through the exercises, finding out what they really want makes them realize, I've never thought of that, but yes, that would be an option. And then aligning it with your values or their values. And I always say the 5 to 7 values, these are the ones that I think should be really aligned with what you're doing in your career. And of course, in your life.
The school that we went to, IPEC, has a list of 600. I don't know.
It's endless.
Pick a few, yeah. Don't get carried away. Pick a few.
I don't go through that one. I have a short list.
Stage, you're checking and you're checking. But I mean, certainly it's comprehensive, that's for sure. But,
but
I think 6 or 7, or at least to start with. You can always add on as you want to. So what questions do you ask? Because I agree. I think that when you ask somebody, what is it that you want? You get like the deer in the headlights. It's like, oh my gosh, I haven't really had the luxury of thinking about it. And now it's like, okay, so what do you want? What are the questions you ask them? Or you don't have to tell us your whole secret, but to sort of get them focused on what do they want?
Well, it depends on the client. Some people have a clearer picture in their head, and some just don't know where to start. So
they just know what they don't want. Yes,
exactly.
People
I don't want this anymore.
They never have trouble going, I don't want that. I don't know what I want, but I don't want this.
Well, I usually start somewhere. So it depends on the client. I really adapt what the client feels comfortable sharing. If it's like I don't want this anymore, then I just start with asking, so what do you want instead? Or of course you just do a mind mapping. It's like let's write everything down that comes to your mind that feels good to you.
Right.
So you can start very broad, or some people just say, I don't see myself any longer in this career at all. And then and it's a creative career, and suddenly they move into a completely different career. So same question. So let's look at their values. This is what came out. So what could you see yourself in now? And then we come up with some ideas, and really usually the client right away have 3-4 options in their head. They didn't never think about it.
They never thought about it, and suddenly it comes.
Suddenly it comes. And also what I always suggest to do, and I think this is such a great exercise, ask what other people, like in your close environment, how they see you. What are your strengths? How are you at your worst? What are your strengths?
That's risky, but smart.
I know, but you know what? It's
you might
great.
as well find out. Yeah, right.
Well, they always are very surprised about the questions, because we are so critical to ourselves. But people in the environment, they mean only well, right? If you ask your friends or your family or co-workers what they think our best skills are, our strengths are, you learn so much about yourself. You didn't even know that other people see us that way.
That's very interesting. I love that. And that's one of the things that you ask them to do, is go have people tell you exactly what they think about you. Wow.
It's a very good exercise. It's like everybody's like at first, really? I don't know if I want to ask that. And then they come back and like they all answer. Yeah, everybody wants to give feedback, right?
Yeah.
I always ask ask 5 people for the 3 strengths, skills, weaknesses, and when you at your worst.
Which is your worst.
Well, it's interesting because it's good to know our strengths, but also what we could improve, and maybe that is needed for a new career or an increased or improved environment in a career. Maybe somebody is happy what they're doing, but really the environment doesn't work in which they work in.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just learning from other people's feedback on weaknesses, or when we're at the worst, we can just find that and work on that, and maybe improve then the environment and get in a different company or create their own business. So
but step number 1 would be finding out what it is that you really want and what your real values are.
The
6 or
real-
7 values. 6
Yeah,
or
the
7
Chris,
values,
the,
yeah.
the vision and what the values are, and align these.
Yeah.
That's what that works well with everyone I coach. So it's
That's fantastic.
yeah.
It's interesting because while you were talking, I was thinking that someone that I graduated many years ago, 2004, when I feel like I've been coaching forever, and that's good. That's a good thing. But we went through. For some reason we paired up. We didn't pair up during coaching, but afterwards we did, and we created workshops and booklets and all kinds of great exercises. And then one day she said to me, she goes, this isn't working for me. She said, I need the stability of a regular paycheck. I need the constant contact of a community of workers. I need to go to an office. And it was like, really? That's why we went through. That's why I had to remember, that's why I went through all this. So I didn't have to do any of that.
But that was probably her values. It's stability and the environment in an office. Exactly. And some people have the opposite values.
Isn't
they just
that
want
funny?
independency, like you. They want to not have a boss and being in an office.
And but she wanted, I don't know about, she would say she needed a boss, but I'm sure she got one. I know she got one.
She wanted to have somebody who tell her what to do.
Yes. Actually, that's kind of right. And it was like, while you were thinking, I go, well, it's not necessarily limiting it to people who want to be creative and creative. Sometimes it's the opposite. You think you want to be creative, and what I do and when I'm doing career coaching is, it's like, oh, so you want to work in an animal shelter? Go volunteer. And
experience it first. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and ask people in the new job you want to be
excellent
in.
advice. Yes, go find a volunteer shelter person and
experience it.
Them,
absolutely. Yeah,
how fun is that? And it could be, and it could be you could be answering to your passion, but so many aspects. It's like,
I know, but that is so interesting about your friend, because it seems like she realized then, wait, this is not important for me. Stability in the office environment is important for me. The team, maybe.
Yes.
And for some people, this is not important. They want to be by themselves. They want to be creative. They create their own schedule every day. So that's more me. I just
and you're
like
making
that
me think that maybe she took the coach training in response to a job she didn't like, and it was like, oh, I want to be independent, and it was like, okay, been there, done that, not so long.
And then she realized what the advantages of the other one was. So I think it's always a process, isn't it? You're always on a path, and then you learn until you really know what you want.
Yes, and it's trial and error. It's like, it's not a matter of getting it right the first time and not making any mistakes, because you have to make mistakes. But I'm just thinking how flexible you must have to be and non-judgmental, because this is a whole process here. It could go either way. All they come to you with, I would think, would be discontent. Either I'm in a creative position, but I can't make money, or I'm in a position and I want to be creative, or vice versa even.
I think the making money is one of the biggest topics that I'm dealing with my clients. So there's also some limiting belief about money that always comes up. So like the belief, okay, my work is not really worth that. So I cannot really. Who
big coaching problem? We have to charge for this.
They could.
We want to be of service. We don't want to charge. No, we do want to charge. Let me not spread that rumor. But it's like, oh, we feel uncomfortable charging. Yes.
Well, it's the same topic there. Who would buy my photos? I cannot charge for that. Like, seriously, this is amazing work. It's a value.
Yes.
And there's a lot about that. Yes, but money and. Nobody would pay for that. Why would they? So this limiting belief around that.
Money is a funny
topic. Yeah.
Well, now I'm starting to think you were brilliant, because this has just led into now she has a success card. When she first told me, I went, okay, 4, all right, but it's so logical. So success, it's like we often define it by title and money, and I think once we open up that definition,
it's a lot more.
No holds barred. The sky's the limit, and
I agree. I just this combination is so good. I believe if you align what is important to you with what you love to do at work or for a living, and how you service them people, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is me doing every day what I love to do. And it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a job. And then you're automatically successful because you're authentic, right?
Right.
And that's why I choose these two cards, alignment and success.
I like it.
I know.
Now, does the authenticity pay your rent? Probably not, but it could. I mean,
But
eventually. I think the message that we all bring and the value that we all bring is authenticity. It's like there's no other coach like me and there's no other coach like you. And I've had clients who don't love me, and it's okay, you know. And,
Same here.
Yeah, it's like
Cannot believe though that they don't like you.
No. Just not. We didn't click, and that was okay. But I think that's the first thing you can bring to the table is authenticity. It's just, this is Sabine, and here's what I can offer you. And you know, and a feeling of I'm going to give you everything I got. You know.
I also think being authentic is so important when you sell yourself, and I feel like it's people only believe us when we are selling ourselves in an authentic way. When you're in sales, it's not about the product usually. It's about, do they believe me?
Yeah.
Am I a trustworthy person?
Right. And are they going to trust me?
Exactly.
It's like you could have a good product. You could have a not so hot product. Yeah.
But if they feel like this is a good person, this must be a good product, because why would this person sell something to me that is not great?
Yeah.
I think it's all about selling, and this is what creative people sometimes are missing.
Yes.
Like selling themselves and their products, and it's all about that, in my opinion.
Well, tell us what your website is. It's at the bottom of the screen.
It's careerdevcoaching.com, so career development coaching.
Shorten it up, Deb.
Exactly. So like this.
And if they go to your website, we have a minute. If we go to your website, what are they going to find? Don't you have a take a test or something on your website?
I have several things on my
website. It's got a great website. I would recommend that you check it out.
Thank you. Well, you have some free things to read about coaching. Do also a little test if you're ready to do some changes, and then I offer complimentary session just to know where you are in your process of making really a change, and getting a first step of a vision, of a clear vision of what you want to do. So that's what I really recommend, because just talking about it brings you already a step further.
I'm telling you, check out the website, careerdevcoaching.com. And Sabine Wieger, yay!
Difficult name.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always nice talking to you, Laurie.
Yes. Okay, I think we're done. I guess I have to reach through my mouse. Wow, that was fun. That was so.
That went so many. You had so many good questions. Thank you, Laurie.
That just flowed so nicely. It was funny. We were stepping on the cards almost. It was like, whoa, sorry about that. Get off. It was kind of like.
So, but that was the flow of the cards, right?
That was amazing. But you chose them, so
they're in the booklet. So, is it really that somebody